Good morning, Kansas City.
Hebaaa! Everybody's talking about Steven Spielberg's new movie, Disclosure Day, which got released today. Now, conversations about extraterrestrial beings and UFOs have been at its peak since the release of classified files by Pentagon a few weeks ago. And Steven Spielberg, with his new movie, Disclosure Day, is basically telling us that these extraterrestrial beings are living with us and may have been around longer than we think they have been.
Are they people?
No. I've got some shocking, wild, insane facts about this production, and I need you to stay with me and check them out. You know that I always blow your mind. Now, let me start with this firstly. The script for Disclosure Day was rewritten 42 times. Steven Spielberg rejected 41 consecutive drafts, written by the absolute legend David Koepp, who wrote scripts for Jurassic Park and Mission Impossible. Let that sink in. Well, that is what it takes to perfect a $115 million budget movie directed by the #1 director in the world, Steven Spielberg. I'm just warming up. Let's go. Now, there were 0 auditions for this movie. Steven Spielberg basically handpicked his cast. Baba just picked up his phone and called the likes of Henry Lloyd Hughes and Josh O'Connor to offer them roles for the movie. You already know when Steven Spielberg calls you and says, look, you are in my next Alien movie. You drop everything you're doing, cancel the project you're on, and you run to that set. You know why? Star power. Now, Zidon Paparella is my name. You're checking out Cinema Reflections on Rella Inc. TV. Subscribe if you haven't. More wow factors coming your way after this. Hebaaa! Dear director, sometimes you have to create real and raw emotions behind the scenes to nail it on set. Colin Firth plays Noah Sanklon, the ruthless head of the mysterious Wildest corporation, pulling the strings behind the cover-up. Now, Spielberg wanted his performance to feel completely detached, cold, and threatening to the younger cast members. Guess what he did? Spielberg implemented a strict isolation protocol on set. Colin Firth was barred explicitly from socializing, having lunch, or hanging out with Josh O'Connor or Eve Hewson between takes.
If you do this, there's no undoing it.
For weeks, Firth was kept in a separate area of the studio, only interacting with them when the cameras were actively rolling. Now, the resulting effect of the offset coldness made their on-camera confrontations genuinely intense and realistic while shooting. Imagine that.
What did you steal?
Secrets. People have a right to know the truth.
So let's dig deeper. Now, there's a 4-minute continuous take where Emily Blunt speaks eerie, clicking alien language. First off, for those of you who are wondering, there are no AI voice filters on her voice. That's her real voice. Emily Blunt literally had to practice for weeks to develop that clicking vocalization sound or voice herself. Now, it came at a cost while they were filming on set. This is because Steven Spielberg insisted that the 4-minute take had to be done in a stretch. Yes. The discomfort you see on Emily Blunt's face in this scene isn't just uncomfortable acting. She was actually in physical danger. To achieve the non-human guttural depth that Steven Spielberg demanded without digital post-processing, Emily Blunt had to forcefully alter her diaphragm movement and suppress her natural breathing patterns. During the final uncut take, her oxygen levels plummeted so drastically that her vision began to blur and she experienced temporary vocal cord paralysis. The moment Spielberg yelled "cut," medics had to rush the set with oxygen tanks to stabilize her.
What's happening to me?
Emily Blunt literally choked out her own breath on live camera for the shot. I got more. Stay with me.
I can see them.
Now let's talk picture quality. To give the movie that gritty, paranoid 1970s government conspiracy texture, cinematographer Janusz Kaminski shot almost the entire film on actual 35mm film using massive Panavision Millennium XL2 cameras. The only time they used digital cameras, which is the Sony Venice 2 in case you're wondering, was for extremely low light scenes. This already automatically gives this film a visual weight that all these standard green screen blockbusters cannot match. This sets it apart. I got more. More wow factors coming your way. Stay with me, let me blow your mind.
Daniel Kellner.
Who is this?
Do not go back to the house. They found you. I don't know who you are, but they're gonna kill you.
Dear actor, are you ready for Hollywood? During the high-intensity action sequences filmed on the Cape May Shorelines Railroad in southern New Jersey, Spielberg didn't rely on a green screen. He had Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor in a real car rigged directly to a moving locomotive. Let that sink in. During one of the most intense takes, the rig holding the car malfunctioned, causing the vehicle to get violently caught and dragged along the tracks. Now, check this out. Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor were trapped inside the vehicle, screaming and watching it being dragged along the tracks by the locomotive. It took some time before the crew could actually halt the locomotive and get them out of the car. Now, this is one moment where a Hollywood stunt could have turned into an absolute catastrophe. Wow. I got more wild factors coming your way. Let's go. Still on stunts, Josh O'Connor plays Daniel Kellner, a hyper-grounded, unglamorous cybersecurity whiz who gets dragged into this government chase. He didn't ask for it, it just happened now. Steven Spielberg explicitly told him that he wanted the action to feel gritty and real, okay? Not like the polished superhero thinking that we see in Hollywood a lot. He wanted some real action. And Josh had to perform his insane high-risk stunts by himself. Man actually jumped onto a moving train car during the New Jersey shoot. He never expected he was going to do that. And during a recent interview, Josh actually admitted that jumping onto a live moving train without a stunt double was one of the most terrifying adrenaline-fueled moments of his entire life and career. Dear actor, I know you're ready for Hollywood, okay? But we just need you to know that these are some of the things to expect. I still got more wild factors coming your way. Stay with me, okay? And if you haven't subscribed, I think you should subscribe at this point. Let's go.
There will be no other day like tomorrow.
Because the film was shot almost entirely on actual 35mm analog film using incredibly heavy Panavision Millennium XL2 cameras, just like I mentioned earlier, the cast couldn't just, casually reset for a digital take. You know how you can rest, in between takes, just you couldn't do that because of the cost of shooting with 35mm analog film. It's quite expensive. So Janusz Kaminski had to keep the cameras moving. So Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor had to do multiple page dialogue scenes while they are sprinting through practical sets when they were shooting in New Jersey. So to keep up with the physical movement of the cameras. Now, for the actors and crew, it was more like a high intensity cardio endurance test. These superstars had to sweat and really labor for the fees they were paid.
The human race cannot accept what we know. We need to stop it any way we can.
What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
Spielberg didn't want his actors or his cast acting like they were in a fun popcorn flick. You understand what I'm saying? Ice cream movie. He wanted them to project absolute soul-crushing terror. To pull those raw performances out of them, he forced the core cast of Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, and Colin Firth to undergo intensive, highly controversial preparation. One of the things he did was he had them sit through grueling locked room sessions listening to actual, deeply disturbing archival audio tapes of real-world hypnotic regression sessions from people claiming to have experienced severe lost time and traumatic abduction. Now, Josh O'Connor admitted in a recent interview that the sheer unedited terror in those real human vocals was so profoundly unsettling, it gave him persistent severe night terrors throughout the principal photography of the production. The exhaustion and fear that you see on the faces of the actors in those trailers isn't just acting. It is the mental residue of those tapes. That's really wild to hear the actual voices of people who claim to have experienced those abductions. I can only imagine how traumatic it must be for those actors listening to those voices on those tapes. Actual real voices, unedited. Wow.
We're interrupting our coverage. There has been a threat to publicly release government material long shrouded in secrecy.
This is a real mind bender, and I think Spielberg is trying to communicate something to us, okay? Something that is going to shock you and probably maybe scare you, but don't panic. Let's talk about this now. It's a pivotal scene from the movie where Emily Blunt stares intensely into the eye of a deer, a normal deer. I mean, deers are harmless animals, okay? Now, the camera zooms deep into the pupil and then pans across as it pulls back. Now, it's no longer a deer, but an extra terrestrial staring directly back at her child self. This isn't the spaceship in the sky kind of movie, guy. This is pure biological infiltration. I think Spielberg is trying to communicate something to us. Now, you can interpret this scene from different perspectives or in different ways, and you can share your thoughts, what you think, this scene means. But this is what I think. These are my thoughts. I think Spielberg is actually telling us that the invasion already occurred. That, they are not coming tomorrow or coming next year like we think. That they probably are already living amongst us, and they are watching us through some of the simplest things, through the animals that we think are harmless. They are watching us, watching our every move. Before you say that, I'm an insane conspiracy theorist, but I'm just saying it how it is. And you can share your thoughts on, what you think, this scene means to you. Tell us in the comment section and share some of your wildest conspiracy theories with us in the comment section.
We're not the only intelligent civilization in the universe. I used to say to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if all of this is true?
And if you watched this far, then you are the real MVP. Like I always say, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, share your thoughts, okay? What do you think about this movie? I know you've not seen it, and then tell us, it could be something as simple as you are definitely going to be watching it, and what you think of Steven Spielberg's comeback with an alien movie after almost 20 years. You remember also that the last two movies, West Side Story and the other one, I can't remember, they didn't really do too well. What are you expecting? What do you hope to see? And if you've seen it, what are your thoughts? Let us talk in the comments section, okay? Subscribe to Rella Inc. TV. Please hit the subscribe button now. Tell someone about us. My name is Adon Paporella. Till I come your way again with another informative edition of Cinema Reflections. Stay peaceful. Subscribe. Peace and love. See you next time. Hebaaa.